Welcome to the Service Industry Podcast. I've spent the last decade as a CEO, operator, and business builder selling tens of millions of dollars in products and services. I, just like many of you, started with nothing. My mission for this podcast is to help you become the greatest version of yourself, help you grow and scale your business, and create the life you've always dreamed of. I'm your host, Matt Smith. Enjoy the episode. What is going on, guys? Matt here from the Service Industry Podcast. Hope everybody's doing well. Donald Trump is officially the president. Be honest with you, I wasn't sure he was going to make it there alive, but he did, so that's good. Happy Tuesday. I'm recording this on Monday. I don't know. I actually think this is a nationwide thing right now, dude, but Michigan is freezing. I mean, obviously it's winter. Like, this isn't something I've never experienced, but gosh, dude, I am just tired of the cold. I know down like in North Carolina this week, it's in like the 20s and 30s, which is ridiculous. So if you're in a part of the country where you're like frozen, just stay inside. Okay, work on your business and stay inside. Today we got a good episode. It's just me. I don't have a guest today, which I hope that's okay with you guys. I have been doing my best to bring you guys some high value guests, so I hope you've been enjoying those episodes. But today we're going to be talking about the owner-operator trap. It's going to be a good one. Before we dive in, though, you guys know I own serviceindustrycoach.com. Okay. I don't know what it is. It's likely the new year. We have been having so many new people sign up for one-on-one coaching. It's insane. Like, by far the most I've ever had in a single month, and I love it. And, you know, I've never actually worked with somebody that I didn't enjoy working with, but every single person that I'm working with right now is just awesome. I love them. They're all go-getters. They do the things I ask them to do. It's been really, really good. So if you want one-on-one coaching or you need help with your print marketing, we are the #1 print marketing company for home service businesses all across the country. Go to serviceindustrycoach.com. Last but not least, if you have not joined the free Facebook group, what the heck are you waiting for? The link is always in the show notes, along with serviceindustrycoach.com's link. So go click that link. It's 100% free. I'm not selling you anything in there. I post on a daily basis. A lot of our members are posting on a daily basis. It's a really good place to learn, and just a good positive spot to be on social media. Okay, so go join the free Facebook group. It's called Service Industry Tribe. Okay, we got over 200 people in the tribe over there. All right, let's dive in. How about? So today we're talking about the owner-operator trap, and this is something I'm really passionate about, and I can guarantee that this episode will ruffle some feathers, primarily owner-operators. That's okay. Okay, know that I love you guys. Know that I don't think you're doing anything necessarily wrong, but I'm making this episode because I want to protect you from what could come and what honestly likely at some point in life likely will come. And this is a big topic for the home service business space, because in my experience, there's really two types of home service businesses. Kind of the mom and pop owner operated type businesses where, you know, it's no employees. The owner is the guy or gal out servicing the properties in whatever industry you're in. Maybe it's, I don't know, window cleaning or pressure cleaning or lawn care or roofing, whatever it is, right? And they are just a small family-owned owner-operator business. Then the other model is obviously one where you build a team of employees and team members who help you grow and scale. And so today I just want to be very honest and talk about both of these things. And, you know, and I'm going to dive right into kind of why people are owner-operators, or why they think owner-operator is the best model, why they're actually owner-operators. And then I'm going to give you, in my opinion, some of the cons that I believe take place when being an owner-operator. And hopefully by the end of this episode, you can, whether you're an owner-operator or not, you can go, okay, that makes sense to me. Those are things I need to consider. And whether or not I'm going to switch my business model or continue the business model I'm doing, at least now I have the knowledge of why Matt believes I should do X. Okay. Now, if you own a business that isn't an owner-operator, I think you should still listen to all of these things, because I have worked with numerous companies that used to build teams inside of their organizations that got so fed up and they went back to an owner-operator model. And I think again, listening to this full episode, you'll have a really good perspective on kind of the whole owner-operator model, in my opinion. All right, so let's dive in on why people think being an owner-operator is great and why they initially or long-term are owner-operators. The first one is, and this is the most common thing I hear people in coaching, they're like, well, I don't want employees. I don't want to deal with people, okay? That's fine, right? That's a huge... That is honestly probably the biggest one, is people are like, I don't want employees. The other one is, I don't want to be stressed out about other people. The next one is the quality of service. Nobody can do the service as good as I can. Nobody can go out and clean the thing as good as I can clean the thing. How could I ever trust somebody to go clean the window, to go cut the grass, to go whatever it is, clean out the gutters? They can't do it like me. I've tried time and time again, and nobody can do the job like I can, okay? Those are all reasons people are owner-operators, okay? And if you think about all of that, it really comes down to control, right? They're owner-operators because they want to be in control. And they believe the only way to be in full control of the business is to be the person who does everything inside of the business, right? And so primarily what I see with owner-operator models is they're not only the person on the truck, but they're the person answering the phone. They're the person doing all the back-end stuff in QuickBooks and their CRM, if they have one. And all the stuff that a team would typically do, the owner-operator does themselves because they believe that nobody else can do it to their standards. Now, the thing that I notice most often is that the people with this mentality also operate the smallest businesses. Okay, they're typically businesses doing anywhere from, I don't know, $75K to at most a couple $100,000 a year. Okay, and if you break down the profit margins after you do all your expenses on your truck and your fuel and your insurance and your equipment, and I don't know if you have cleaning solutions or chemicals or marketing or whatever the case is, the profit left over after a $150,000 business just isn't that much. And so there's small businesses. And so what I've realized is these owner-operators, they want to be in full control of their business, but they don't even really have that much to be in control over because the business isn't that big. Now, I can hear somebody on the other end of this podcast yelling right now going, I'm totally fine making my $60,000, $70,000, $80,000 a year. That's fine. And that's cool. I love it. Perfect. But I want to talk about why people are actually owner-operators. Because what I just said, the no employees, the low stress, the quality of service, that nobody can do it better than me mentality, those are the reasons people think they're owner-operators, but this is actually why, okay? The first reason is they don't know how to be a leader, okay? They'll say that employees suck, but the only reason employees actually suck is because you suck at leading them. Now, that one might hurt a little, all right? You're just not a good leader. And that's okay because becoming a good leader takes time. It takes effort. It's like anything. It's like a muscle that you're building over and over throughout the years. And you're right, man. It's really, really hard to lead employees when you don't know how to lead. But the only way to become a good leader is to lead. And so people say, oh, I don't want employees. But what they're really saying is I'm a bad leader. Okay? Their whole idea that they can do the service better. Well, what they don't realize is they probably can, right? They probably can do the service better. And maybe it's 10 or 15 or maybe even 20% better than what an employee could do. But what they don't realize is the customer doesn't care, okay? So many owner-operators will stamp their flag on, we provide the best service. Your customers don't care, okay? This is the biggest myth in all of business, but especially in the home service business world, is people think that offering the best service over our competitors, right? Like I love talking to a small guy who's like doing a couple $100K a year in revenue, and he's bashing the biggest company in town because their service sucks, right? But they're doing 15 million. It's like, you look like an idiot, okay? Because guess what? Clearly, the customer doesn't care that you're doing a 20% better job than them because they are doing literally 14 million more than you are per year. If they cared, the numbers would be swapped. So the whole, well, nobody can do the job like me. That's not the point. The point is, how does the customer feel when they work with your business? Now, trust me, you can't do a bad job. I'm not here saying that you should go build a business doing poor service. But you being 10 or 20% better than your employee doesn't matter. The way your customer feels when you service them is what matters. Okay? The next thing that owner-operators really aren't admitting is they're just not willing to put in the work to gain the skill to scale. It takes skill to scale a business. And owner-operators aren't willing to put in the work to do so. That's why you see so many owner-operators hardly marketing. And it's why you also see when they do market, they're doing stuff that like they heard about 20 years ago for the most part. They're running ads in the newspaper and the monthly shopper magazines. And like, I'm not saying that stuff doesn't work. But there's so much better return on your investment when it comes to marketing a home service business than that kind of stuff, okay? You don't see them running a gazillion different Facebook ads and testing new ads weekly and running Google ads and spending thousands of dollars a month on them. You don't see that. Why? Because they're not willing to put in the time to scale. Instead, they would rather sit on their high horse all day and talk about how their competitors' service sucks compared to theirs and how employees suck and employees aren't fun to manage and they don't do as good of a job as them. And they would rather sit there and complain about that for the next 20 years than actually gain the skill of what it takes in order to scale. And it's just the truth, okay? So I want you guys to understand this, especially if you're an owner-operator. If you talk about your competitors, how bad their service is, and they're bigger than you, you should really just shut your mouth. You look stupid. Okay, and I know that sounds harsh, but it's just true. Because if you say that to somebody who knows business at all, they're instantly going to discredit anything you say further on. Because trust me, I would rather own the $10 million business that does an 80% job than the $300,000 business that does the 100% job. Okay? Everybody would. So stop being on your high horse saying that because your service is so much better, that's why customers should go with you. Well, guess what? They're not going with you. They're going with your competitor because they're better than you. Now, that's a little bit harsh. I know. I can feel some of you guys like probably getting a little bit mad. But this is why I'm saying this. These are the cons. This is, I can't even count how many times I've seen this happen. This is, for me, one of the core reasons you should never want to build an owner-operator model. Because you are in constant danger of losing everything. Let me give you an example. Just the other day, one of the carpet cleaning forums I'm on, or Facebook groups rather, there's a guy in there with a GoFundMe. And he's got throat cancer. And he's an owner-operator. And he's been an owner-operator for 20 years. And he's built a quote-unquote successful business, right? I don't know the exact revenue, probably a couple $100,000 a year. No employees, just him. He's been doing it for as long as you can think. Comes down to throat cancer. Doctors tell him, you're going to go through this chemo, and it's the hardest chemo that exists. And you're not going to be able to work for at minimum a year, right? Now he's in the Facebook group with a GoFundMe open because he's losing everything. He goes, my business is not going to exist by the end of this. I'm not going to be able to work. I'm not going to have an income. I'm not going to have a paycheck. I'm not going to have a business. And the reason he's not going to have a business is because he's owned an owner-operator style home service business his entire life. And I'm passionate about this, man, because any one of us could get, quote unquote, smacked by a bus today. And if we're an owner-operator, we will lose everything. Where if this guy had a business that was systemized with a team, I'm not saying it would be easy, but if he had a team with a leader in place, he would weather the storm. He wouldn't have to be relying on other carpet cleaners to donate to his GoFundMe, okay? And I'm all here for helping people. But he wouldn't be needing the help because his business would still operate while he was off treating his cancer, right? I've seen somebody I was coaching a couple years ago was an owner-operator window cleaner, got in a car accident, broke their leg. Gone, done, dude. They were off work for 6 months. Their business was small as is. By the time they were able to work again, like it was non-existent. Majority of the customers had went somewhere else. They thought the guy went out of business. I have another friend here close to me. Owner-operator, fell off a roof, broke his back. Done. No more income. This happens all of the time. And so the biggest reason I am an advocate against owner-operator style businesses is because you, every single day, are in danger of losing everything. Now, I'm not here saying that if you have employees that you're going to guaranteed be protected. I'm not here to say that, okay? That would be stupid. But you've got a way better chance, especially if you build the business properly and you put leaders in place and you pay your staff well and you have a business that has leads coming in and you're growing. You have a way better chance of weathering these hard storms if and when something happens to you. The next con to being an owner-operator is these people think they own businesses, but they don't. They own their job. That's all, right? You own your job. You're like, well, I can set my own schedule. Well, guess what? If you're not working, you don't get paid. You know what we call that? A job. So an owner-operator owns their job, not a legit business. The next thing is there's absolutely nothing to sell at the end of their career. An owner-operator would be what we call a key man business, meaning it requires a specific person to run it or else it doesn't make money. Majority of people buying companies are not interested in that style business. Private equity is typically not interested in that style business. The only person that's likely going to even maybe buy a business like that would be another person who wants to be an owner-operator who doesn't understand business. Because if they did, they would understand that if you really knew what you were doing, you could go out and build a $200,000, $300,000, $400,000, $500,000 business in 1 or 2 seasons. So you wouldn't spend any money on buying that person's business because it's useless. You're buying a job. And so that's another con to being an owner-operator. Last but not least, they make just enough money to live, but not enough to be wealthy. Okay? They're essentially 9-to-5 employees. And I don't know about you, but a lot of us got into business because we didn't want to be employees, right? And so a lot of these people who maybe had jobs prior, then they go and start a home service business and they're an owner-operator. They think they're living the quote-unquote American dream, but they really just went from having a job to owning a job. And that's it. And the reason they don't make all of that much money is because one person can only produce so much revenue. Like if they're the person out on the truck, they can only do so much revenue on their own per year. And so they are maxed out. That person, by definition, has a ceiling over their head of how much money they will ever make. And the weird thing to me is, so many of us got into business for freedom of our time and to make as much money as we can. Yet so many people get in business to own their own job and put their own ceiling over their head. And again, the argument would be, and I've heard this time and time again, I've got friends here in my town. One's a carpet cleaner, and he's like, well, I make my own schedule. That's cool. How much do you get paid when you take days off? Well, zero, dude. The answer is zero. So guess what? An unemployed person makes their own schedule too and makes as much money as you do on their day off. Congratulations. Right? That's a con of being an owner-operator. So I want to leave you guys with some actionable steps. If you're like, Matt, you're right. I need to start to think about this. I need to start to implement this stuff. I want to leave you guys with 5 categories that you should be focusing on in your home service business if you want to begin to build a team and begin to build a bulletproof business that will serve you and your family, whether or not things are good in your personal life. Okay? And so hopefully you guys aren't too offended with me yet. You'll listen to the rest of this. Because I'm telling you, if you learn these 5 categories, okay, and these don't happen overnight, by the way, this will take time, but if you learn these 5 categories, you will begin to build a business that serves you. You will no longer own a job, you will own a business. The goal is that the business serves you. The goal is that you can take the day off and still get paid. The goal is that you can have the surgery or the knee replacement and the business still operates and you don't have to start a GoFundMe. Okay? That is the goal. And I am telling you, because I do this with people all the time in coaching, every single day. We work through these things in every single business. If you can learn these over time, or you hire a coach like myself to help you fast track your success to implement these in your business, you will be happier, I promise. Okay, so number one is new leads. A business without a steady flow of leads is on borrowed time. Okay, you have to, as a business owner, figure out how to get new leads, new customers, calling your phone every single day, predictably, every day. This is the lifeblood of a business. If we do not have new leads coming in, we do not have a business, okay? There's no reason to look at anything else until we figure out how to get new leads. So on very simple terms, all this means is you need to have a marketing plan in place every single month that predictably gets your phone to ring time and time and time again. Okay? The second thing is sales. Okay, are you maximizing every opportunity that comes your way? Okay, this is a big one. Because as owners, oftentimes, maybe it's easy or we like to say like, I close so many deals. But is it because you're cheap? Is it because you're an owner-operator and you're totally selling that to the customer? Or what? Because when we have salespeople in place, this is something we really have to think about. How efficient is your team at closing leads? Which, by the way, if trained properly, they will close leads as good as you do, sometimes better, because that is how they make a living, right? When you build a team of salespeople, they put food on the table for their family by closing deals. So they want to become the best salesperson possible. When it comes to sales, when I'm coaching businesses, I'm looking for low-hanging fruit. One of the low-hanging fruits in a business is how can we raise the average order value? Because I'm telling you right now, in almost every single business I work with, we are able to tweak a couple things, which, by the way, is almost always completely free, to raise their average order value so they actually get more return on their marketing spend. So let's just throw a random number out there. Let's say a company's average order value is $500 and it costs them $100 to acquire a customer. Well, what if we get that to $550 or $600, right? We essentially just got you a customer for free because we did one simple thing to raise your average order value. Something like that could be as simple as selling in packages with the estimate sheets that we do for our coaching clients. Like that right there, every single time raises average order value. And it's almost free. So I'm looking at these things when I'm thinking about sales. How do we raise our close rate? How do we raise our average order value? These things as an owner, you have to start obsessing over. The next thing is repeat business. Now that we've got the new lead, now that we have closed the new lead, how do we get this customer to repeat with us time and time and time again? What do we do? What system do we implement in our business to get them to repeat? Because you guys understand, especially in the home service business world, but really any business, if we're acquiring new customers, but we don't get our customers to repeat with us, we are not going to scale. Every year, we're going to be chasing a new customer, a new customer, a new customer. But guess what? Let's say we acquire 500 customers this year, and next year, 250 of them repeat. But while those 250 repeat, we acquired 500 more. That's how you begin to scale, and it happens year after year after year. And what happens is you actually grow the new customers every single year because you begin to spend more on marketing. Because every year that goes by, you come up with a more and more predictable marketing source. So instead of in year 2 acquiring 500 customers, maybe you acquire 750. Year 3, maybe you acquire 1,200. And then it's just it steamrolls, right? Maybe your repeat rate goes from 50% to 60%. This is how we scale. And so we have to understand how we get our customers to repeat. So first thing is new leads. Second thing is sales. Third thing is repeat business. Fourth thing is customer experience. And this is where owner-operators get it all wrong. You think the customer cares about the service. They care about how they feel when they spend their hard-earned money with you. Now, like I said earlier, you can't do a bad job. But I know guys doing 80% as good of a job as the owner-operator who's doing 100% and smashing them. And they're getting more reviews, they're getting more referrals than the owner-operator has ever gotten. And it's because the customer feels a specific way when they spend their money with this company versus the owner-operator. But the owner-operator will still sit back and bash that company because they don't do as good of a job as me. Well, guess what, buddy? Nobody cares. Okay? Because at the end of the day, the only data we care about is the dollars that the customers spend. So I would recommend, whether or not you believe one of your competitors who's much bigger than you does a good job, I would study them and figure out why they're so much bigger than you. Okay? So that's customer experience. The next one is company culture. And this is what happens when you start to bring in a team. Okay? Your people need to feel valued. Your leadership needs to be strong. Your people need to be aligned with the mission, right? You need to offer a good quality service. Okay? Not here saying that bad quality service is okay. It's not. We don't want callbacks. We don't want customers saying we didn't do a good job on whatever service you did. They need to be trained in order to do a good job. But more than anything, when it comes to company culture, is people have got to want to work at your organization. If people are waking up on Mondays and dreading coming to your business, you've done something wrong. Your culture is not where it needs to be. Now, I'm not saying every day everybody wants to go to work, because even as owners, we have a lot of days where we're like, I would love to not get out of bed, right? I feel that. But overall, your employees should wake up and be proud to come work for the company they are at. And it starts with you as the owner and as the leader. So if you are not putting things in place to make your employees feel valued, then you start there. And reverse engineer it. Say, if I was an employee of my business, what are some of the things that I would want or look for in order to want to work at this place? And start implementing those. It's very similar to like the customer experience. When we're working with companies in our coaching programs and we're basically redoing the whole customer experience, we start with the end in mind. We say, if I'm a customer who wants to get his windows cleaned, what am I looking for in a company that would give me a good experience? I put myself in the customer's shoes. You should do the same thing for the employees. Put yourself in the employees' shoes and reverse engineer the structure so that they want to actually work for your organization. And that's it. Okay, so I'm gonna roll through these real quick. You need to know how to get new leads. Okay, new customers, marketing. You need to know sales, how to close deals, how to increase your average order value. You need to know how to get those people to repeat with you time and time again. Okay, we've already paid for them. Let's get as much money out of them as we can year after year. You need to know how to make those people feel amazing when they spend their hard-earned money with you. The customer experience. Then you need to have a great company culture. Your team has got to want to work with you in your organization. Guys, I'm telling you right now, it's a lot. It is, okay? None of that stuff is easy. It takes time. And it's why most people don't do it. But I'm here to tell you that if you do, like if you were to create a business that served you rather than you serving it, everybody listening to this episode right now would be all in. The only reason you're not all in is because you don't want to put in the work to do it. And that's fine. I'm not here saying you have to, okay? I do plenty of coaching with one-on-one guys all the time. But I'm not afraid to tell them what I just told them, and then they can make the educated decision. But I just don't want to see you guys get yourself in trouble down the road if something, God forbid, were to happen to you, and then overnight the lights are off because you're not generating income. Because you are the income. You are the guy. You are the girl. I don't want to see that happen. So I feel it's my obligation. I had to make this episode today so you at least understood the cons of being an owner-operator. And wholeheartedly, I believe that if you had a business that served you, you would be happier and you would have something to sell one day for potentially a lot of money, become very wealthy, right? Be able to retire at an earlier age than most people, live a life that most people couldn't live, have freedom that most people don't have, make money that most people don't make, right? Run a business that most people don't own. But there's a reason that only 7% of companies ever get to 7 figures a year. And it's because it's hard and it requires a lot of work. So I hope you guys take this episode today, and I hope that You will listen to it, digest what I said, not be offended, but really think about how that applies to your life and your business and go from there. Make an educated decision from there of what model you want to build, because there's only two. It's the model that serves you, which is building a team, or the model where you serve it, which is being an owner-operator. I love you guys. I'll see you on the next episode. Take care. Thank you for listening to this episode of the podcast. As always, if you need any help marketing your business or want to work with me directly doing one-on-one coaching, visit serviceindustrycoach.com. We'll see you on the next episode.